Well, as you prepare to ship your baby off to your end users, or if you yourself are getting ready to fix your database and make it usable, and when I say fix, I mean finish developing and start using, make it a fixed rather than a changing database, there are a few things that you can do to speed up your application and to make it function faster and smoother and put less stress on your overall system. Some of them are system tweaks, and some of them are things you can do inside of Microsoft Access. The things we're going to talk about may border on some very complex coding issues, but bear with me. I'm going to open up my Swift Office Smart database from the Lesson 15 folder. And there we are. And let me select the database portion. And right here on the toolbar we have code. This is going to launch us into our Visual Basic coding environment. We're not here to do any coding. What we're here to do is the Tools, Options, and on the General tab we have a Compile dialog. Now by default I believe it's set to Compile on Demand and Background Compile. And these are things that you want to have set. So it's worth going in here and double checking that they are indeed set on. What this means is your various tables and queries and forms and reports that you've created are all sitting uncompiled, which means they can't be run. When you access one of these objects, whether you're doing it through your switchboard or you're doing it on the fly, you click one piece of data that prompts another table to open. Every time it opens a new object, it has to compile that object on the fly. And believe me, when they start growing in size, this can take a big hit on your system. Once an object has been compiled, it doesn't decompile, or in other words, get out of active memory until you've closed your database. So when you open your database, virtually nothing is compiled. After you start using your database for a while, everything you've touched is compiled as you use it, so it's a compile on demand. But it doesn't decompile or get out of memory until you shut down your database. And that's an important reason to periodically shut down your database and reboot your computer once in a while, just to keep everything fresh and to keep the memory clear. Speaking of memory, that's one of those system-level things that can be done to really speed up the database processing. Make sure you have enough RAM. If you're running a modern operating system like Windows 2000 or Windows XP, make sure that you have at least 256 megabytes of RAM. They recommend as a minimum 128 megabytes. I would tell you, make sure you have 256 to keep things running smoothly, and if possible, 512 meg of RAM is going to be that much more beneficial. Beyond 512 meg of RAM, at this point, really isn't going to offer you huge advantages, but more is always better, and if you can afford it, go ahead and put as much memory in there as you can, with a reasonable ceiling being about a gigabyte. Most systems can't take advantage of more than a gigabyte, and I don't think that your Access database is going to give you much advantages past 512 meg of RAM. It's relatively inexpensive, and it's an easy move for you to make.